States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir. At this time, we'll observe a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Call the City Council of Mountain Grove to order Monday, July the 8th, 2024, 6 p.m. Council, in front of you, you have some minutes from the previous meeting. If there's no corrections or anything, I'd open for a motion to approve. Have a motion by Webb, second.
Second.
Second by Carolyn, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I know Becky told you, but just for the record, Zach is not here. He is, I think, on a plane somewhere, right?
Well, he was supposed to be landing in Springfield around 6. They had been out of town for a wedding over the weekend, so.
Next thing, we have Chief Gibbons, Fire Department report.
How are y'all this evening?
Good.
So in June, we responded to exactly 100 calls. It's been pretty steady, roughly around 100 calls every month. We've been working on some finishing touches at the new station on the downstairs part of it. Downstairs is 98% complete. I just have to get another desk, stuff like that, but everything else should be good to go. Flooring's going in today, this week, upstairs, so we should be real close. The training room, the new training room, I've had nothing but positive feedback from everybody that's been in there using it. They really like it. A lot of space, you can spread out a little bit. The Fire 1 and 2 class that we're hosting is going great, and all the students seem to be enjoying the knowledge that they're getting along with the hands-on, having the ability. We actually use the smaller building over there on Lake Street Saturday. Used our smoke machine, filled it full of smoke, and let them crawl around and follow the hose and stuff, and they really enjoyed that. In the middle of last month, I attended the floodplain manager damage assessment class they held in Marshfield. A lot of good information. Hopefully I never have to use it, but I know how to do it now. End of last month, I completed the Fire Officer 4 class in Jefferson City, and I'm currently one of only 50 people in the state that have that certification, which means that I can now take that class and teach it for a certification throughout
Good deal. Good.
the state. We attended a few PR events. We did the truck pull last month, as well as the alumni parade this past Saturday. Everybody waved. I didn't have any people yelling at me, so I think we did okay. But other than that, we're just trucking right along. I want to say Thursday we're going to be applying for a Firehouse Subs grant. Try to get some more battery-powered extrication equipment. So we'll have more tools that we'll be able to spread throughout the area. So hopefully we get that and can buy more stuff.
Thank you, sir. Council, have any questions? Thank you. Keep up the good work. Be safe.
Thanks, sir.
Chief Bledsoe.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good. Busy month for us, 852 calls for services last month. So we're moving right along. So,
Yeah, you take that divide that by days and hours, and I mean, and it's like, whoa, that's a lot, you know.
yeah, especially because we're shorthanded right now. We're down 2 officers right now, so it's challenging right now.
So the officers, they work 12-hour shift.
They do. Yes. Yep, we
Those
sure do.
two out is sick or?
No, they're one took a job with the airport in Springfield, and the other one took a job in Mansfield. So, but
So
Are we
there,
still not competitive enough?
We are there, we're getting there, so it's just, it's hard to find people that wanna work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we interviewed one here the other day, and we were very specific on the shifts and everything, and sent him to his physical agility test. He calls me and says, "Now, how set in stone is it that I have to work nights?" It's pretty
Yeah.
set,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but,
I mean, one of them, it was, a matter of getting to work days instead of nights,
Right.
that he took a job, and the other one, I mean, it's just a lot of
it's
pay
benefits, I
at the
mean,
airport with benefits.
we can't compete with Springfield,
you know.
so,
You can't get mad, people better themselves, you just
no.
can't.
Yeah, no, you
but,
can't.
but it's not just us, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And not just in law
Yeah.
enforcement, but about every field that.
But
that
you have all the resources that you
Yeah,
need
well,
there.
yeah,
Okay.
so the officer that went sprint, is he driving back and forth? They're gonna move?
yeah, he's driving.
Wow.
That's a long drive every day.
His
Well,
wife-
but,
Yeah.
His wife works in Springfield too, so they'll be able to ride together.
but you know, if he works a 12-hour shift,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah,
So,
4 days a week.
but, I mean, we're still answering our calls, we're still doing what we need to get done, it's just, it's a little taxing on the guys, so,
Thank you for hanging in there.
well, it's,
Yeah.
it's part of what we do, so. Like I said, it's been a busy month, we had the parade, and, of course, we're getting geared up for, fire range stuff, or firearms training this next month, and then we also have liability training with firearms this week with our liability company, Myrma, so it'll be a busy week.
what do you have that here?
It's at Kabul.
Kabul? They just gather a bunch of them together?
No, it's individual, they put you through a scenario-based training, with, simulation gun and.
They hire someone to come in and do that, right? Just like
Myrma,
Shields.
Myrma has the program that does it, so,
Okay.
but that's about all I have for you. Still
I will
fighting tall
say,
grass.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, he loves doing code enforcement. He tells me on a regular basis, he comes in my office to tell me how much he enjoys it.
We're glad we could help you.
Yes, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's okay, you don't have to be afraid. But sometimes when I ask him questions, he gets that look. Are you running into those tractor chicken coop things around on animal, or on code enforcement?
No, we've not had a whole lot of issues with that. In
No,
fact,
okay.
in fact, I don't know that we've had any chicken calls whatsoever, so.
Yeah, the chicken tractor, it's basically you can put
You're
them in
moving
it
it
and
around.
you just move it. Yeah, it's like a movable coop kind
So
of
basically,
situation.
you're
It's
not
usually
It
keeping
is.
your
And-
mess all in one spot, you're
Right.
keeping
Yeah.
it moved around and.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They
I-
didn't have that really, that I knew of when we made the ordinance, so I just wondered, because
I
I've been
think it's
approached
actually,
about it.
isn't it addressed in the ordinance? I think it's addressed
it?
in the ordinance, yeah, I
Okay.
think it is. I'd have to look to be sure, but I think it is, Tammy.
They're a really
Okay.
good idea, but
They are if you are in a spot where you can do that, but in a
Yeah.
residential area, it's not
Yeah,
really
it'd be hard.
practical unless you had a large piece of land, but,
Yeah.
um,
Right.
but Jordan does the inspections on all those, and
Okay.
she's not talked
Yeah.
to me about having any issues with that,
No,
so,
and, you know, we communicate every day, and she's not had any,
right.
Okay.
nothing like that with it.
But we've addressed that in the ordinance.
I think it is, I'm pretty sure
I'm
we
like
addressed that.
99% sure that
Yeah, me
it's-
too, but I'd have to look back at it.
anything else?
I just had a question on the code enforcement report. Is there a column on here that I'm missing that tells you what code you're enforcing? Or is it just the details of the different calls that you're
I
doing?
think it's just the detail column, the differences, so if you'd like that added, we can start doing that.
I think it'd be interesting to see just, can have a little bit more detail, especially if the public, this came up in the Citizen Advisory Board,
Okay.
on just code enforcement, so. I
This
thought
is
it'd
on the multicolor sheet, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, the Excel spreadsheet, to just know kind of what codes, I think it'd be interesting too, is be like, like how many grass calls? As a
Yeah.
percentage of overall calls are we doing, and so I think just be some more metrics,
Okay.
so, but yeah,
That'd be
that's great.
scary.
It might be.
You go, whoa.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Can you repeat that? Okay. Anything else? Anyone have another question, comment for chief? Thank you, sir. Be safe.
Thank
you.
Hope you get some
Thanks.
people to work.
yes.
Yeah.
Senior citizen reports next. The dining room had 2456. Monthly total was 5,165. That's just pretty good. Next thing, Jamie, you want to update on citizen advisory?
Yeah, definitely. So I spoke with Preston today and kind of went over the one from last meeting and got a little bit more details there. So I'll share that. But also, they didn't have a meeting this month. They had more people out, and then him and I got our kind of wires crossed about getting connected. But I gave him a list of some different things to bring up at that meeting, so I'll go over that as well. But from the last, let me pull up the last council minutes that I can go through and just kind of refresh everybody's memory about what was on there. So, and I took some notes too, let's see. So the first thing was on, a lot of it was just, if you recall, was on economic development. So the first bullet point was environment people want to work and live. Talked about the aesthetic continuity from the square down the highway, down to Highway 60, and we talked about the MoDOT project, and everybody's really excited about how that's going to improve. I think that's really going to help. So that kind of addressed the issue about wanting to have that be more aesthetically pleasing. The next thing was the incentive for mom and pop businesses. Things like tax breaks, any, available city money for development. So I talked to him a little bit about the existence of the economic development committees and the tourists and things like that, and just maybe connecting those two groups, or just kind of making them a little more aware about what's being done.
What the resources are
There, yeah. And it sounded like this kind of came out from some rumors about larger businesses, like the hotel, getting some support from the city. So that kind of came up as why that was brought up. And then the next bullet point is one central conduit for businesses to ascertain information. So this came out of some of the smaller businesses and starting up, just getting consistent information. They felt like when they called the city, there was lots of bouncing around to different people. A lot of it was around zoning. So we kind of talked about how that's been alleviated with the zoning maps and clarity there. But even just kind of talking about having almost like a welcome packet for new businesses, something to kind of know local resources for banks and loans, or, technology services or other things like that, to have a little bit better of an introduction, I guess, for small businesses.
I mean,
are
that might
starting
be
their journey.
something we need to partner with the chamber.
Right, and that's
Chamber do that
what-
already?
'Cause
Yeah.
there's some of that they may already do.
Right.
Probably need to talk with Becca and see what they have available and
Yeah.
what we could work with them on doing there.
Yeah, so, and that's what he kind of mentioned, like having something with the chamber,
Right.
and really just, kind of like a nice introduction to being a small business in Mountain Grove. So I thought that was a nice idea, something we could explore. We talked about the enforcing building codes. I referred him to that report that's linked in the minutes. So, and he wasn't aware that that was in there to kind of show the different things that were being addressed in the city as far as code enforcement. So I gave him that information. And then staff positions for grant writing. So we talked a little bit about how last time, did we talk about like a workshop that could be given for grants, or just, kind of bringing that type of a resource in, and he seemed pretty interested in that. So that was just some additional details from the last CAB report we had. He also mentioned that there are 2 spots that need new individuals. So the people originally assigned to 2 of the spots just haven't been able to have the time commitment, attend regularly. So I wasn't sure about if we had additional people that were interested that hadn't gotten spots, that would
I'll
be
have
a
to look.
good.
Seemed like yeah, I think we let
Everybody
everybody
was
on
on,
that
except
was
the one that lived
eligible.
out of the city.
Right,
Yeah.
except there was one that lived out of the
So
city.
I don't know if we want to do another announcement of
Okay.
available spots. So, but that was a need that he let me know was now present. And then the other things for this coming meeting. So he emailed things out to the CAB, and let them know what types of things they're gonna discuss at their next meeting. And so anything else that we have, for them. But one of the things was offering up, Becky's time, and I didn't commit to this, Becky did. So let me just say that about, attending a meeting, upon invite, so that she can offer some of this additional information. Because we noticed that there tends to be a lot of, they have ideas, and we either already have existing solutions, or we're working on solutions, or they don't have a history.
Or there's limitations why we can't. And
Exactly.
they're not aware of that.
Exactly.
So
Right.
sometimes I think it would be helpful for them to have that.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
so
great, yeah.
offering that, asking them about mandatory trash service, so getting some feedback on feelings around that, ideas, things that we might not have considered yet. And then also just kind of how him and I can do better follow-up, so as far as like, they provide us with a report, should I give them something back a little bit more formal as far as, here's some additional information, so if they don't wanna tune into city council meeting or something like that to kind of hear all the details or look through the minutes, I can give them something more directly in response to the feedback that they've given. So just a better kind of flow of
I
information
wondered
back and
too,
forth.
after we talked, if there might be a good way for them when when they put a report together for the council, things that they would consider suggestions and things that they would consider action items, that
Yeah.
they would like to see the council take some action on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
kind of split it up that way, because some things are just maybe, here are some things that were discussed, here are some ideas, but then there might be some things they would really like to see council take action on. So maybe handle it, split it out that way.
Okay,
I mean, that might be something for them to talk about at least,
yeah,
how they
definitely.
might do that.
Good deal. So I will pass
Is
that
there a
along.
reason why they don't attend our council meetings?
No?
I think that would be a good
We
idea.
did make it a
I think that would just be-
requirement, so
At
as
least-
far
at least
as,
It would keep
the
them up
chairman.
on what we're discussing.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, and they can see it on, I can see,
Right.
they can see it on Facebook,
yeah,
but I think they probably need to look at it on Facebook too.
On
Yeah.
YouTube or
And
whatever.
also, whenever you do put it out there for, members, I think it needs to have a list, and we need to make sure and bring it to council before we just put them on there.
Yeah, we would. It
Yeah.
would be, it has to be approved by council,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, so I think, the reports, I think the things I would like to see on there, I like the action item idea. Also who was in attendance at their
Right.
meetings. And then potentially, when I'm giving information back to Preston, I can like attach the meetings from the last city council, just kind of
Well, and maybe
reinforce to
just
be able to
a
watch.
response on some items, because
Yeah.
there would be some things that maybe might not be action items, but we could do a response that this is already in place.
Right,
This is, here are our limitations when we make that decision. Maybe we need to have a little bit of response, so that, I don't want them to feel like that every time they meet, that they're just meeting and talking and it never goes
and that,
anywhere.
exactly,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so that's what I wanted to kind of be able to develop with Preston, something a little bit
I mean,
better
it's new,
flow
we're
of
learning
information.
kinda how we want
Yeah.
this to work as we
Right.
go, but,
Right.
but,
And I think they'd appreciate that, cause,
Yeah.
as he put here at the bottom of the last, CAB report was, hearing a lot of positive feedback from the community about the beautification of the square, the sod, the flowers, so they discuss additional things too about what's going on in the community, so I think
Okay.
it'll be good to
Good.
have a little more structure maybe
Yeah.
to the back and forth and agenda,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
so, yeah, but that's it.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. There's nothing on the public, since we don't have any public here, so moving right on. The old business grant update, Becky?
I kinda put that in the admin report too, so on the Twin Cities sewer project, Courtney has started construction. I mean, they're moving pretty quickly through that, so, probably the most visible thing that people saw was as they were going down 17th Street and they cleared out the brush down through there. That kind of got people's attention pretty quickly. So that project is underway. Plans have been approved. We have all the permits. We are actually out for bids, and the bid opening will be on July 25th. The Bulldog
Finally.
project, yeah, the Bulldog project, DNR has approved the plans, finally. I actually got the actual written letter in the mail today, but I'd gotten an email. So Toth should be able to move ahead with the bidding on that one. Also, to kind of go along with the Bulldog one, Kim and I met with MoDOT this morning, so I don't remember if, a few years ago when we started talking about Bulldog, there was some interest from the, state shed to get added on, if we ever did that. So they actually have moved it as far as they definitely want to get added on, and they met with us this morning, and they are willing to use their ARPA money to pay for the extension from where we will have our station at, Bulldog Pike. They would pay to get the rest of it run all the way out to the state shed,
And that's the sewer and water.
sewer and water.
Okay.
For me, that's a no-brainer for us if they're going to pay to get that out there. So right now, they have ponds that they have to maintain and, for their sewer and stuff, and he said it's running them around $100,000 a year to maintain those. So for them, the investment of getting the water and sewer out to them when we're as far as Bulldog, and they can run it in their own right of way, so they're not gonna have to worry about easements or any of that. They'll run it in their own. We've got that all the way out through there, so,
So what about the other people out there hooking on?
well, we will have to address that with the engineers, so they have an engineer already working, and then we will have Toth helping with it, cause they're the ones that's doing the, out to Bulldog, and they will have to work out, whether it'll be a force main or how people will be added on with it being a force main out through there, how they're gonna do that. So we would make that a possibility. That's the plan, is to make it a possibility, fix it to where, cause I know E. Marie's has expressed an interest on being on, the trailer place has, the sale barn. There's multiple people down through there that have expressed an interest to be added on.
And Toth will
so-
look at the capacity of the water and sewer
Yeah.
to get it out there. the
And
pumping.
their use is not heavy, they have, a car wash, they have some restrooms, some offices, it's not heavy use out there. There's not much heavy use out that direction, except what the sale barn might be, and I'm not sure what,
And the sale
looking
barn,
at Sean, cause he's the one that'll be,
the
dealing with
sale
some
barn's
of
gonna
that.
be maybe, one day
One day a week.
or maybe 2 days if they have a sale, and, just a lot, but, it's not gonna be.
the sale barn did give us an easement, for us to have access to the lift station that we will have at Bulldog. And so they did give us an easement, and we met with them and got the easement for that, so that our guys can pull in on their drive and get to where that'll be on Bulldog. So it was a positive meeting, and they, wanted to make sure, they wanted me to bring it up to council tonight, make sure that council was in favor of moving ahead with, allowing them to, do the water and sewer project, and then they're gonna ask for a letter of commitment from us that we are willing to let them do that.
For MoDOT.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that could be good. I think you'll have a lot of people out there wanting to, out by MoDOT, maybe extend it all the way out to the,
It's not very often that you get someone that's willing to pay to have it extended that far out, and they're
Mr.
willing.
Mayor, I make a motion
to
to
send, what do you want?
send a
what's it
letter,
say? Send a letter.
send a letter, and then our commitment.
Okay.
Commitment letter, go
To
forward.
MoDOT to move ahead with that project,
Yep.
okay?
Second?
And that includes water and sewer.
And what about the
Yes.
people, is there people that don't want this?
Well, they don't have to be put on the water and sewer if they don't want to.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's not,
We're
a-
not forcing anything on anybody.
no.
Okay,
It will be
Okay.
available.
okay, I second the motion then.
The church out there was interested about hooking up too. They
Where's the
asked.
church, which church?
The next one, next door, Whetstone.
Yeah, right before you get to the.
Oh, okay,
sale.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right, yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
told
Well,
me.
and there's another one, they're not gonna get, I think they may have 15 or 20
I mean, and there's
students.
some potentially some open land out there by
Yeah.
Anne
Right.
Marie's that
Okay.
could
And I think
possibly
it'll
be
help.
developed, so.
We have a motion and a second to send the letter to MoDOT, a commitment letter to them, work together to put the water and sewer, let them pay for it, however Becky and Kim wanna word that. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
The Bush Street project, we have not moved much on it. I was talking to Matt with Toth. They've been so busy trying to finally get all this stuff finished with the Lake Lily and the Bulldog because they've had to revise their plans to satisfy DNR from the Bulldog project, that we haven't moved much on the Bush Street project. But once we get the Bulldog out for bids, then we'll try to finish up on that.
Are we on a time limit on that Bush?
We've got plenty of time on it. It's a
Okay.
newer project. And the ones that we're more pressed on is the Lake Lily and the Bulldog project.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you railroad, because the railroad is what's held us up on Lake
About
Lily.
8 months to get that
Yeah,
permit through,
yeah,
Wow.
you know, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Burlington Northern. Maple Street, we held our public hearing last week. We are now accepting the request for qualifications for engineering. I've received, I think, 3 so far on that, and we'll be making that choice over the next couple of weeks, and then we can move ahead with the design phase of the Maple Street project.
You're gonna run that all the way up from 95 all the way?
It will
north?
be from Third Street, or from the business route, over to 11th Street.
Is that behind Pampering?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're gonna overlay that, widen it, you're gonna move the sewer?
Mill and
over-
overlay, move the water and sewer, yeah.
Move the water and sewer to the,
It will be to the west, on the west side.
okay.
I mean, that's where, it's that direction anyway, but it'll be out of the street completely, but it'll be on the west side. And we have plenty of right-of-way, so we're not gonna get into easement issues there, so.
So, when you do that, you're gonna bid the digging of the sewer and water, you'll have, right, okay.
Yeah, it'll all be part of the grant.
Cause there's not much
The
in
only,
kind that can be done with
the
the
only
city
thing
pools,
that
right?
they're kinda running into a little bit is, so there at 11th Street, it's really deep in that area. So they said instead of completely digging that up, they may line part of that right there where it's the deepest. But that'll be the only place that it wouldn't be completely replaced.
Which that'll be an engineer's call
It
to
will.
see what they do.
Is this sewer and water, or is this gonna be street you said too? Or
Sewer, water, and street.
would it be a sidewalk area?
In this grant, the sidewalk wouldn't. Now, the sidewalks will be in the 95 widening because MoDOT will replace the sidewalks on North 95 when they do that project.
If they're doing dirt work, could we look at that?
We
as a
can look
separate
at it.
number, and maybe
We can look
buy a
at
bit
it.
of concrete and they could put it in
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
can look
thinking-
at it. Yep.
as an alternate bid or something.
Of course, would you
Reachable.
wanna cover the sewer and water with sidewalks, or would you want it on the other side? How-
No, you would just put them back where they're at. I mean, we have
Right.
sidewalks down through there,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
but
I was
a
just
lot
trying
of
to
them
make
are
a
in-
sidewalk highway to Walmart eventually.
Yes.
That's all the wheelchairs and bikes and
Mhm.
pedestrian
95
traffic.
will be that way.
95, or, yeah, the new
Yeah.
one.
I mean,
Sure.
really, we probably ought to look at some grants to
Just-
help with that, cause there probably is some grants for sidewalks, especially for that area, especially
But
with.
if 95's gonna be busy, Dale's right, it needs to have
Yes.
an alternate place that you.
We
can-
still have pedestrian traffic.
Yeah.
But that's why we're doing Maple, is because that is gonna be, that's gonna take a lot of traffic when
Right.
we're doing the 95 project.
And if we're already doing all the dirt and everything else, all it is 2 boards
Yes,
and 24 hours of drying time.
Yeah,
okay.
And I've expressed a concern about that as well,
okay.
you know. If
Yeah, we
can
can definitely look at it at that time.
get that.
At one time, we talked about doing sidewalks up to Dollar Tree or
Dollar
Dollar
General.
General.
Dollar General,
Sorry. Have we checked into that
I haven't.
anymore?
I haven't.
Cause there's
But I
that, like,
I
safe
can.
routes to school, those types of grants that are designed for sidewalks and safe
That's
safe
on the
travel,
agenda,
so.
but we got so many grants.
Yeah, I remember we talked about kind of pumping the brakes on new grants at the moment, just kind of finish out the ones that we got, but yeah, I think there's definitely some things that we can explore.
All right,
Can
move,
you
you know,
Can you share about the public hearing from last week? Was it with residents? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, it was advertised to residents, but what it is, they, so SCOCOG that's doing the grant, they come in and they, just anybody that wants to come in and talk about the project, and then they kind of do a needs assessment for the community. We have to do that, it's required with every one of the grants through block grants. There wasn't anyone that showed up for the meeting except staff, people were there. I don't, do we have anybody?
So were letters mailed to all of the
No,
residents?
just public notices
Oh, I
in the
didn't-
newspaper.
I didn't see
and
that.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah, SCOCOG puts those in. They put it in the local paper.
Mhm.
Have
I
we,
might- I just
sorry,
missed it. No, that's okay. I looked back through, yeah.
Yeah, SCOCOG takes care of all that. That's part of their
Did you
administration.
see it in the paper too?
No, but they have to get copies of the affidavit because it has to be provided to the block grant.
have we utilized our texting capability to notify residents of upcoming events?
Not usually too
Yeah.
much, not the texting out part, but we
Yeah.
get a lot of receipts.
Receive. Cause I feel like that's kind of a missed opportunity, cause I haven't, I remember when we first got it, and then I think I've gotten 2 texts since it first went into play as far as announcing
Hey, tech
when there are
person.
things.
Yeah,
So-
we use it a lot for certain things, but not for like, the notification one, I think there's only like 50 people signed up to get those notifications. So, Facebook is much more broad, and then people can go back and look at that.
Yeah, if they see it on Facebook, they can go to the city website and look and see. and-
Well, can you just go ahead and do it on both? Maybe we need to push the texting thing again. Maybe we need to let people know it's available again.
Yeah, I feel like the more that we use it, the more it'll be known. I mean, I'm not on social media nearly as much as I used to be, and I think that there's probably a lot of people that are following that trend of kind of separating themselves from a lot, especially in an election year. It's not a very fun place to be
We
honest.
haven't really been
So,
using Facebook a lot either,
yeah,
so.
so yeah,
But anything that goes on Facebook, I could also put it to
yeah.
texting.
Probably a good idea. And
I've-
unlike Jamie, it, you know, there's, and then if you're on it, sometimes you don't get the ones that you want, you get all this other stuff that you
Yeah.
don't want. you know.
Yeah.
And they say, do this, do that, but then you get worse. So
Yeah.
It's amazing how all these political ads get your number and your
Yeah.
Facebook, and they're not supposed to sell them.
But I feel like a consistent process for different events and things that happen, almost like we developed a process for our bidding, right? So we go through set steps of how we call out for bids, where it goes out, all that. I feel like there needs to be that kind of consistency with how we push information out, cause even being on council, you would think I'd be in the know of a lot more, but I feel like there's a lot of times that things happen and I was like, I didn't even know that happened, and I get the paper and I read it pretty much the day or two after I get it. I look at things that come in on Facebook, I definitely see text messages that come in probably more so than anything, but I think when we talk about things like transparency, notify, getting community involved, the way to do that is to make sure that we have consistent information that goes out on as many platforms as possible, especially if it's easy. If it's not this big labor intensive thing to do all these different platforms, I think that would be helpful
think
to
the
get more
texting thing
community
is that
involvement.
They're all easy.
Yeah. So yeah, so
But
maybe
you
just
have-
like go through the list, like
People
it goes
have
here,
to
it
make
goes
the
here, it goes
effort.
here every time.
The people have to make the effort to get into the know. They have to make that effort to go to those places and be aware. I mean, you know, we've always had that
I
problem.
think what more of it comes down to is we just don't put a ton of information out.
Yeah.
So I don't just actively go out and look for stuff to post on Facebook.
Right.
I kind of wait for
Direction.
what I'm told to be posted.
Right.
And, you know, there's just not a whole lot of, you know, stuff, I think.
Yeah, but you can work with Becky and put that on there, get some stuff on there.
Yeah.
All right, anything else before we move on? Next thing is a fence waiver. Becky?
I told you a little bit about that in the admin report. That's on the Bill Scott Trailer Park. So, I spoke with Larry about it. He kind of researched, on that, and it was kind of his thoughts that, since Mr. Scott owned the trailer park prior to the current fencing standards, he would probably need to be grandfathered in. If the trailer park changes ownership, the fence would have to be installed. Bill came in and talked to me a couple of days after we had council meeting, and he said that he is leaving the trailer park to his son when he passes. And so I talked to him about the fact that if it was grandfathered in, that once it changes ownership, then he would have to abide by the ordinance. And so he's understanding of that. He actually talked to me about that he may go ahead and put the fence in, but he was looking at some other options besides just your standard board fence. He said his son had talked to him about some, vinyl or plastic fencing that's heavy made that might be a better option that would last longer. So he seemed a little more, willing to work on it, but, you know, it was kind of Larry's feeling, we both discussed it, that we probably need to not require the fencing from Mr. Scott at this time.
So, the ordinance was changed, correct? He's grandfathered in. So-
Until it changes ownership.
So when the ordinance was changed, that these people couldn't have animals in town, and they had them before, so they're grandfathered in too, right?
I don't know that we had any, did we?
Well, yeah. The ordinance was changed. I couldn't have animals after the ordinance changed. Died, that's what I was told. So we're gonna go back and say that prior to the ordinance, and it's changed, that he's grandfathered in, but all these other people that would change for whatever reason, the ordinance would change, they're not. Right? Is that what we're doing?
I think that's a different circumstance, Mayor.
Okay.
I think real property, when you're dealing with real estate, that is a completely separate province than personal property, which dogs and cats and that sort of thing would be.
Do we have anybody else in town that this, would affect, that they
We
don't
just
get
have-
grandfathered in?
We have, well, we do have one other one. The trailer park over on 10th Street, she bought that trailer park after the ordinance was passed. But Bill Rainey's trailer park, he does have an area that would need to be fenced. So it will affect him too, cause he's had that trailer park forever. But there's only one area of his trailer park that borders a residential area. So his would fall under the same guidelines as Bill Scott's.
So does that need a motion, or we just
No.
let it die? Okay, all right. All right. Moving on to page 2, CDBG program. Where's some things here, Becky, conflict of interest, if you'll talk about those, we need to
So
approve
this
them.
is part of the Maple Street project, because we're doing the, block grant, it's community, the CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant Program. That's generally where we get most all of our grant funding for any of our projects here in town, that are infrastructure related. The conflict of interest, the procurement policy, the excessive force prohibition, and resolution to apply are all required documentation for us to move forward with the grant. Kim, did you attach all those to the? Yes. Okay. So you guys have a copy of all of those? We just need council to,
We need to do that each one, or can we do them all together?
you need to do each one.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the conflict of interest?
Motion.
Second.
Motion is a second. Webb and Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You don't need a voice vote, do you? Procurement policy, motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second by Webb and Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Excessive force
Motion.
Second.
prohibition. Webb and Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution to
Motion.
apply.
Second.
Motion and a second by Webb and Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Bill 2024-08, budget amendment, first and second reading. Becky, you wanna talk about that?
So we do this every year, so when generally, we don't spend a lot of time, amending the budget. Every time we have issues with the budget during the year, we generally wait until June, see where we're at, and we amend the budget at that time. That's what this is. If you look, Kim gave you each a printout that shows you where all of the, budgeted expenditures were for the year. So you have a printout, of individual accounts, and then there's a summary on the front. So on that summary on the front shows you budgeted revenue, actual revenue, where we ended up June 30, budgeted expenses and actual expenses, June 30. The most important number is that number at the very bottom. So if you look at actual expenses, budgeted expenses was $88,99,920. Actual expenses, we came in at 79,009,039.35. So we were under budget overall. However, because we were over what we budgeted for certain departments, we still have to do an amendment to fix those according to state law. So what you have in your bill is in the police and fire fund, the budgeted amount and the final amended budgeted amount, and the general fund, the budgeted amount and the final amended budgeted amount. If Carolyn asked me today, and normally what we would do is take from reserve if we went over budget, if it was bottom line was over budget, but as you can see, it ends up kind of balancing out because you're not over budget overall. We're always over budget in police and fire fund, because in the police and fire fund, all that's in that is the money that you take in with the police and fire sales tax. The police and fire sales tax itself does not completely fund the police and fire department. We still have to use general revenue for police and fire. So, we'll always be amending that amount every year, because it's always gonna have to come from general revenue also. But those are the amounts that needs to be, it's basically that we just need to pass this to satisfy state requirements, and amend our budget. If you look under general revenue on that summary sheet, you'll see, you can kind of look down through there and see in the areas, certain departments that were over budget that caused some of those areas to be over. But we were under in other departments. So overall, I'm happy with how we ended up, bottom line, but in some departments, we need to work on getting those expenses down for this next year.
Well, it's better than having them, that numbers flip-flopped.
It is,
You know, I
For
mean, that's
sure.
good. It's good to be under.
yeah, it's good to be under,
Okay.
but we do need to go through this process to amend the budget.
Have a motion to proceed with
Motion.
Bill 2024-08.
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. All in favor?
You got a
Aye.
roll
Oh,
call.
we gotta read it. We need to read
You
it.
got a roll call. It's an
Mark?
ordinance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Okay, thank
An
you.
ordinance amending the budget for the city of Mountain Grove, Missouri for the fiscal year from July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024 by changing the revenues and/or expenditures of the general fund and the police and fire fund.
Okay. Motion to approve.
motion,
Second.
Second.
Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 yes,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that was the first. Now we need to do a second reading. Motion to proceed.
motion,
Second.
Second. Mark, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Becky?
An ordinance amending the budget for the city of Mountain Grove, Missouri for the fiscal year from July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024 by changing the revenues and/or expenditures of the general fund and police and fire fund.
Motion to approve.
motion,
Yeah.
Have a motion and approve. Mark?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Lake Street parking, first and second reading, Bill 2024-09. Becky?
Okay, so what has kind of facilitated this, which I kind of talked about in the admin report, is now that we have what will be our main fire station there on Lake Street, there are people parking on both sides of the street over there. It's gonna be a problem if we ever need to get emergency vehicles in and out of there. They're not always parked on both sides of the street, but it could potentially. I would like to, what I proposed in the bill was to at least make no parking on one side of the street, but there has been, Dale talked to me a little bit about it today, about the possibility of making it no parking at all. So I'll let him talk a little bit about that before we move on.
I've got a house on that street, and there's 2 houses and 2 apartments on one side, and there's 2 houses on the other side, on Lake Street. And it's tight, and I see the police weaving through there, the fire department went over there working, and it's so tight you can't back into your driveway with a trailer because they've got them parked. So there's lots of safety issues, and that's gonna be a fire lane from the new firehouse. I think we should have signs that says fire lane and have painted red and have no parking on either side, because it's not that many residents it's gonna affect. And I thought also the South Street, going out to the other direction towards Casey, getting out of the fire department would be the other route we should address.
Yeah, I do have a concern about the South Street. It's not an issue yet, but you have a 12-plex that's gonna be getting completed there. And, I mean, they do have some parking there in front of that building, but I wonder, you know, if that is gonna be a parking issue at some point with people parking along the street there.
They
If
should
that
have
gets
parking
busy.
for their units, right?
Yeah, but you know, if they have guests, if they have other people over, there's probably enough parking for 2 vehicles per apartment in the lot itself. But then if you get more than those 2 vehicles, you get people with people over or whatever, I just wonder about how much extra parking.
There's no parking behind that 12-plex either, is it? It's just in the front. And on
Nothing I
that
can
street,
tell.
that little,
That little on South Oak Street.
I mean, it's got enough for the residents themselves, but if you get additional parking, that may become an issue. But in the immediate term, if we at least have it no parking on Lake, that gives them an open shot out to 95. If there would be some issues on South Street, that would give them an open shot out to 95, to be
If they're
able to
gonna
get
take
out.
the route and turn left on 95 on that
If
hard
they
turn
need,
with
yeah,
the 95 turn,
yeah,
I mean,
I mean.
that's their decision, their routing that they're coming.
What if we made it no parking on the south side, I guess it would, on the side opposite of the apartment complex? I think you've just got the church there, but
You have the
what if we
church and
made that no
probably
parking?
well,
three,
there's some houses.
there's
three
3 or
houses.
4 houses
Yeah,
down
and
there.
I've seen them parked along the street there,
Yeah.
yeah.
The ones on Lake Street, the homes there, do they all have enough
They all have
parking
off-street parking.
for their guests as well?
I mean, they all have off-street parking. I mean, I drove down
It's
through
about
there.
2
looking.
units per house. probably.
Yeah, probably 2. Yeah. Some maybe a little more, cause they sit back a little further, but most
Well,
of them are pretty close.
I
to
agree
the
with Becky
street.
on that Lake Street. I think we need to do that. And Dale, if it becomes a problem later on, maybe we can, you know, address that on South Street. You know, cause
Well,
I
I
mean,
was
it's
just, when we
ongoing.
brought up Lake Street, I thought the route to go north across the tracks would be turning left and going by Casey's.
Cause I just
But I don't know
proposed
whether
no
the
parking
fire
on the
trucks
west
want to
side,
turn.
but he was wondering if we should just put no parking in general, street parking at all on Lake.
You think with just no parking on West, would that give enough room for you guys to get up and down Lake? If we just no parking
It
West?
should, it's just, I know,
Mhm.
I've driven down some of the streets here with no parking between this time and that time or whatever, and there's cars parked there all the time. So, I mean, it's all up into whether they're gonna follow the sign or not, follow the ordinance.
I mean, I'd hate to only do one side of the street and then have where you couldn't get through. Cause you sure can't turn left and cross the railroad tracks.
It would definitely be a lot more beneficial to have no parking on the whole street.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
As long as we're not taking away
Well, we're talking about from,
homes that
just
were
from
already
the
there.
tracks to 95. That's
You know,
my
you're
proposal.
talking what,
is-
100 yards or less?
There will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Between South and 95, what is there, 5 houses, 2 on the west? Another one possibly being built on the west, and then 2 or 3 on the
Got those duplexes.
It's about 4 and
up there.
4 on that
Is it?
side.
Okay.
Is there anybody living in that house right on the corner as you come around the curve, that one that was bad shape, is it?
It's being remodeled now with vinyl
Okay,
siding
okay.
and stuff.
That's an Loudon house.
So the way you have it now, Becky, is it just
At a
on the west
minimum,
side?
I would like for it to be on the west side. If you guys want to amend that to include, the east side, then let's do that, do the first reading and then amend it to that. And I'd like to do first and second reading, cause I feel like it's important to get that,
To get it done, get the
To get it
signs
done.
ordered, get them up?
yeah.
I think they need all the room they can get.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I do
That's
too, I just wanna.
emergency vehicles.
That's the reason I brought that up.
People who are
That's
living
right.
there.
That's-
I'm on that street every day and it's just tight. I see you guys come through there and we're wiggling.
I think they need all the room they can get to 95.
So we have a motion to do both sides?
Motion.
Have a motion to do both sides, and Becky, how do you want to do that? I need a
I would,
second.
so let's do the
Second.
first reading and then amend the ordinance to include both sides of the road and then do the second
All
reading.
right, we're gonna do the first reading as it stands on the west side.
Correct.
Have a motion to proceed?
Motion.
Motion and a second. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 An ordinance to amend Chapter 8, Section 64 of the Code of the City of Mountain Grove, Missouri by adding to paragraph A for the purpose of adding no parking on the west side of South Lake Street from the railroad track south to Harker Street / South 95.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion. Second? Mark, how do you vote?
Yeah.
We made a motion to approve that?
The first
The
reading,
first reading.
We're gonna amend it after we.
yes.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
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 Okay, now if you wanna make that motion.
motion
Second.
Your
Motion.
motion is to amend,
amended,
Okay.
both
Minute,
sides.
both sides, okay? So we have a motion and a second. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 now you wanna do a motion to proceed with the second reading with that amendment included.
Motion to proceed with
Motion.
the second reading with the amendment added. Mark,
Second.
second. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
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 An ordinance to amend Chapter 8, Section 64 of the Code of the City of Mountain Grove, Missouri by adding to paragraph A for the purpose of adding no parking on the west and east side of South Lake Street from the railroad track south to Harker Street / South 95.
Okay. Motion to approve?
motion,
Yeah.
Motion, second.
Second.
Mark,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
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 okay. All right, Becky, administrative report?
Yeah, just a second. I am amending this as we speak.
Okay.
We're gonna think about the South Street later,
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you
or we
want.
talk about that.
yeah. Let's, I guess whenever
I mean, if
the,
you wanna go ahead and talk about it, and I can prepare an ordinance
know,
for it.
I don't know when the apartments are gonna open and see what that is, but, you know, it may be good to do something before the apartments so they know.
I was just trying to
Exactly.
protect that fire lane for these trucks.
Yeah.
They're
Going
not big-
south
They're not
and
small
then-
like a pickup, they're big.
right, going straight south, well, and then turning back to the, east to get down through there, you know,
Yeah.
on 95.
do we need, do, on the, and I don't know, so I'm just asking, do we need, would one side work on that street, or do we need to do both sides?
I was thinking one side minimum.
Yeah.
North or south?
Well, they're on the right side of the road, so
They're on
I do the south side,
Okay.
You-
is what I'm
Right.
North
thinking.
and south,
Right.
I think
That's
all
what
the
I
years
thought.
I've been over there, most people park on the south side of the, I mean, there's one homeowner that doesn't have enough parking for
His
most of them
campers and
done.
his stuff,
Yeah.
toys, yeah.
And then the other two houses only have driveway for one car.
I think if you're gonna do it, you'd probably wanna do it on the north side of that street.
Isn't that where, if I'm right, isn't that where the apartments are?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, right here.
okay,
Mhm. Yep.
okay.
so you
Yeah.
need a motion on that, Fred?
Well, if you want me to just prepare,
Okay.
I can just bring back an ordinance at the next meeting.
Okay.
I don't know, I haven't been by there. Clint, you've been by there. How close do you think they are getting apartments opening that use?
Right.
the second story landings up yet.
There's 70 days or more,
Huh?
at least 70 days.
They're a ways, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, okay. So we can propose that next meeting and have it in time
Oh, yeah.
to let them know. Okay.
And also, Clint, make sure that will give you enough
Come
room.
in here.
Oh, yeah.
When you look that over, make sure
Right,
Not
this
come down
one
here
side
and
will
hallway,
be
right?
good for you.
right,
Okay,
You know, and I like
yes.
Dale's idea of that painted red for a fire lane. I mean, I see how they do that at different places, you know, and have a fire lane. I think that, and that would help me if I lived there to know, oh, that's in the fire lane, maybe, you know.
You can see the red curb, you can't see the sign sometimes, you see
Yes.
tree branches.
And, you know, where they come out and it's the fire lane where they mark it and it's, you know, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, when there's these types of changes, is there a set process to notify the residents on that street of the changes in
We
parking?
will.
Yep.
That's, Bo and
So-
his guys will, yeah, we'll let them know.
Oh, so do we go like door to door and let them know, basically, so verbal
Kinda like they
notification?
do when they do,
Chip and seal or
chip and seal
pave
or
and-
anything like that, we do door hangers and let them know.
Okay.
All right, Becky, you wanna go through your administrative report, what we haven't
Okay.
talked about?
See, we've already went over the grant stuff. The new firehouse will post an open house date as soon as we feel like that we're ready for that. The airport RFQ, that is our request for qualifications for our 5-year plan for the airport. Brett with Garver has submitted our 5-year plan to MoDOT. And I got an email back from him yesterday that they've accepted that and, they were okay with our plans for that, so we should be getting a confirmation back on that shortly. David Richardson has taken over as the airport manager and is doing great with that so far,
I came by the other day and this was on Saturday or something, he was brush hogging.
Yeah.
That big tractor, he was out there.
Yeah.
It was good,
He's been taking care of the mowing and keeping that.
good.
Hey,
Um,
Beck?
yes.
One question, please. It's my understanding that when we get our fuel in, we're the only airport between West Plains and Springfield and Lebanon, is that right?
I don't know.
Caboon
think
doesn't
so.
have fuel, do they?
Cabool?
I thought Cabool
I
had.
think, I don't know, Mountain View does, but, I mean, they're not
I don't know. I
really
don't
in
know.
that
I'll
line.
find out. I don't know the answer to that question. Hey, Bobby, are we done? That reminds me, are we,
Ava has
is
fuel.
everything ready for them to come back and set that up?
No, I still need to get in touch with that credit card processor guy.
Can you get that done?
Yeah, I forgot about that on the last.
Cause I got an email back from them today asking if we were ready for them to come back and get that all set up so that Weights and Measures could come down. Okay. So we're still trying to get that whole process finished so we can get fuel in there. On the swimming pool, I met with the engineer from Toth. We went through the pool, looked at a lot of different things. I kinda put a summary in there for you. The pool house would need extensive changes or renovations. They really recommended that it probably just needed to come down. The block walls that were put in were done at a time when rebar wasn't used. So those block walls that are coming away from the walls also are not reinforced with any rebar. So all of those block walls that are in there, the exterior, none of them have any rebar in them. So that just kinda adds to the whole danger of those
Safety,
walls that
yes.
are
Boy.
trying to come down. Some of the roof they thought could be salvageable if we decided that we wanted to try to salvage some of it, but the main beam around the edges of it's all rotted, that would have to be replaced. So that would make it real difficult to salvage part of that. They said if you wanted to save part of it, there was an area that they thought you could downsize the bathhouse. When that one was built, it was built with a lot of extra spaces for showers and a lot of things that don't even get used anymore. So it could be downsized tremendously compared to what we have there now. They had concerns with the walls and the deck of the pool. Just like we said before, the deck over where the deepest part of the pool is definitely leaning in. And there was, at some point, they put a stainless steel edge around the pool, and the walls are deteriorating behind the stainless steel edge. They still said, as far as the pool itself, there's another gentleman coming that constructs pools. He's going to come and give us a breakdown of if we wanted to do like a new basic pool, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at for just a new basic pool, and then what it would cost to renovate the one that's there, if that's even possible. They're gonna do a sample of those walls behind that stainless steel to see how bad a shape those are in, to see if that's even salvageable. So it's still, I mean, I know we need the information to be able to move forward, but
Doesn't look good, does it?
no.
I'm just afraid
But
behind
it
that.
would be good information to have what a basic pool would
Yes,
cost if we're wanting to
yes.
go do something else.
It'd be good to have an
So-
idea, and they need to be real careful, because that pool got water in it, it doesn't, does it?
Mhm.
They need to be real careful around
They
that. 'cause
did
it's dry
say,
and they
though, that
crumble around
They
it.
did say that the pool probably would have lasted longer if we'd have kept water in it, instead of emptying it out every winter. Said that contributed to the deterioration of the floor of it. It would have done better if we'd have kept water in it. Said going forward, we should probably think about that, so. 911 changes. I mentioned to you all that I went and met with them. They are going to be looking at all the addresses in the county. They've changed some of their technology and they have to do this. So the ARPA fund, they have some ARPA funds that they're using to do the study. So this company is coming in, they're gonna identify any duplicates, any issues all across the county, including the city, that has any address problems. They don't have the authority to change the addresses. That either has to be done by 911. Jeff and his group would do the county ones. The city ones, I do all of those. So once they identify the issues, then they would make those recommendations to us, and then it would be up to us to decide if we want to change those addresses or not. They can't require us to change them, but it's gonna cause issues if we don't. And I know we have multiple addresses in town that are gonna need to be addressed.
Is it because they're duplicates or what?
Well, and there's been some areas that the guys can tell you, they do a lot of the driving around, but you'll end up with some even numbered on what should be odd numbered side of the street. You've got blocks, you'll go from a 200 block to an 800 block, with not enough space in there that you should be going from 200 to 800. I mean, there's just a lot of, I know there'll be a lot of areas that will be addressed when they do this.
That's
Mike,
what Mark,
yeah.
that's what Mark was gonna do 4 or 5 years ago, cause you said we had for 911, the guys couldn't find where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Well, now you have a company that's being paid with ARPA money to come in and do the
Yeah.
study.
That's great,
That's
So,
awesome.
that's good.
they are supposed to have their report to 911 by March of 2025. So it's really not that far away. Bond financing, I know I've talked to you all a lot about how we would move forward with any type of financing that we would do on the treatment plant. Obviously, with the different stages of construction that we wanna do, we're gonna go after grant money, obviously, but grant money isn't gonna cover all of it, so we will have to look at bond financing, which is what we've done before. So Kim and I met with the McCliney people, and I've invited them to come in August just to talk to you all about what is involved in bond financing and what those steps are and how we have to do that. Because, and that's even a possibility if you guys move forward at some point with what you wanna do on a pool. Some communities, that's how they fund their pools, is to do a bond financing. Bonds do have to be approved by the voters, but, it's financing so that it's not an impact to the voters, it's not a tax. So the McClineys are gonna be here to explain to you, they do municipality bond financing. So I'm gonna let him come, explain the process, what's involved, and how that works, as we move forward, because we are gonna need to move forward with that for the treatment plant, cause that's gonna be probably, if we do stages 1 and 2, you're probably looking at $6 million to do all of
Where are they from?
that. Kansas City, I believe, McCliney and Associates. They've been in business forever. And when he came, I know I'm getting old now because the guy that came to talk to us looked like he was 12, but
Yeah,
and he's one of the associates in their group, and he looked really young. It made Kim and I feel kind of old, but he knows what he's talking about, and I thought it would be real helpful for you guys to hear him. So we've invited him to come for the August meeting. The sewer extension, Toth completed the final plans for the sewer extension for the new properties annexed in on 20th Street, and our crew will be doing the work on that. Our guys have been really covered up. Plus, they still are trying to get all that lead assessment. We are under, I think it's October, we have to have all of that completed. So they're trying to get those lead assessments. The state's requiring us to report all the lead lines in the entire city, and that includes from our line to the house. So they're completing all of that assessment right now too, so they're pretty covered up. So I'm not sure how quick they're gonna be able to get to the 20th Street, but we'll get to it as quick as we can. I know that there's some movement on the property at the Old Earth Outdoors building, so I know that they're kinda anxious for us to get that going, so we'll try to get that done as quick as we can. We did send in to MIRMA explaining to them that we would be terminating our health insurance December 31st, and we'll be working, because that's what they required. They require you to notify them 6 months ahead, so for us to be able to even look or get any bids for you all to look at, we had to give them that notification so that we can move ahead with getting bids. But nobody wants to give you a bid until they're within 90 days. So we won't have any bids until October to look at. Kim's working real hard on all that. Renewal contracts, mini grants. We'll go over those at the next meeting. I was just inviting each one of them to provide us a budget revenue expenditure report and come and speak at council meetings. So we'll have them on the agenda for the August meeting. We went through the budget amendment. I did attend a joint meeting of the IDC. The IDC actually hosted the meeting. We had it out at Club 60. We had IDC, IDA, the chamber, the city, the county, Twin Cities. So it was really good. It was a good networking opportunity. It was good to get all the groups together, hear about all the different projects and what each entity is working on. And so hopefully it'll be good working relationship with all those going forward.
When was that? When did you do that?
I don't know,
A couple weeks ago, wasn't it?
3 weeks ago probably.
In June? Okay.
It was since the last council meeting.
Okay.
The tourism slogan, the tourism group held a slogan contest and they chose the following slogan. I have that in the report for you. They'll be doing some public relation posts about it, and I think let people know who the person was that chose the slogan and kind of do some promotional material around that. What did you guys think of that slogan?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
it
think
is.
you're-
It's
yeah.
catchy. Okay, Hovis Street.
Oh, while you're on that subject, you know, we used to have a billboard out here.
I was just gonna ask about that.
There
I'm
you
glad you said
go.
something.
One great mind thinks for both of us. And we're choosing your mind.
Okay.
We used to have a big billboard, well,
Right.
we had on both ends, but out there, Darren Farron has that one on there now, but I noticed the other day one went by there, underneath it said for rent.
I saw that.
Is there a way that we could get that back and put our,
Did we have that or did the chamber have it?
Chamber.
that I don't know.
I think the chamber had it. I don't think the city had it.
Yeah.
I think the only signs that we kinda had at one time was the ones that are out by the treatment plant.
So there used to be one out here by John.
Well, was that a billboard or was that a stone type like?
I know
the
it
other
used
time?
to say the Mountain
No, it
Road,
was a
take a closer
billboard.
look or
Yeah.
something.
The
They
And it was
friendliest
pretty-
town-
That's why I think it was
used to say
a,
the friendliest town in the Ozarks.
yeah, I think it was a chamber.
Yeah, that was about 40 years ago, that slogan.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
Yeah, I still
mean,
remember
was-
it.
Yeah.
It was there at like Dale, Martin Dale, the Dale's
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
house.
that's where it's
Yeah,
at.
they're in Long's house
Yeah.
right now.
And now it's
That's the one, it says,
Okay,
it
right.
says for rent right now.
Okay,
It has a sign underneath it, so,
okay.
I mean, we can check into it and see what kind of cost is involved.
Well,
in
and
it.
would that be because the tourism,
Yeah,
right? They have funds to support things like that,
Mhm.
so that might be.
They're expensive, they've gone up a lot, billboard signs.
I have no idea what they are.
Yeah,
3 to 5 a month.
wow.
They're what?
3
3
to
to
500,
500?
that range.
Yeah.
A month.
A month?
Thinking I have
Yeah.
them land on 60 highways.
Yeah,
I'm
35
like,
to
yeah,
7 to 6,000 a year.
Okay, I know, did you go by the Hovis property today, chief?
I did.
And have they, he hasn't done anything
No.
with it? He moved the, is the dozer still there?
Yep.
Okay. So he has moved the dozer in, he's supposed to be, demolishing the house on Hovis Street. We were just, did you talk to Mr. Headley? Okay. We're just wanting to make sure that he doesn't bury the house, so he's supposed
He
to
moved
hold.
a dumpster in.
Okay, well, that's what he's supposed to do.
He did, he moved a big
So,
dumpster
we
in.
just wanna make sure that he's taking care of that proper way, so.
Well,
But
good
he
for-
is gonna go ahead and tear it down.
Good for him, I mean, good for him stepping up and taking care of that.
Is
like
it?
all
Is
that.
this the one where the basement
Yeah.
wall? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
He said that he's got, what is it, 2.3 acres right there. He said he was gonna split those up and sell them, and once he gets the house down, he's going to split those up and sell lots for housing.
Good,
That's what he
that'd be a
told
good location. And I'm sure his insurance is, hopefully his insurance is helping him.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
I'm sure he's getting something from it.
Yeah, they pulled in that first day and he dug under the house some and at 2 o'clock he was out there and then been back.
Is, Webb, do you recognize the dozer man?
No. I
No,
didn't
he
know.
told me, this guy's from Lebanon that owns the house, and he said this is one of his local guys that he has worked with for years, and so he's from over that
Does
way.
that guy need to get a business license or anything and check with,
Yeah.
make sure that, and
Clint will be visiting over there, cause we're gonna make sure he gets it taken care of properly.
Is it a track hoe or a dozer? Is it a bucket, not a bucket?
Yeah, it's a dozer.
We have a hard time loading it in.
They'll probably bring something else in to help load it. There's been a lot of people making comments about the trees on the square, and our guys, we were concerned about some of the trees on the square. They were late leaving out and stuff this year, so we had an arborist with the Department of Conservation come down and talk to us about them. He felt like the excessive amount of rain that we saw in the spring had an effect on him, and he didn't feel like that we needed to do anything with them this year. He said he thought we needed to give them a year to kind of bounce back from it and see how they were doing next year. He did express some concern. He was sending some pictures to some people that knew more about it than him. He said there was some rot that he thought was showing on one of the trees on the northeast corner of the square. He said that was the only one he had concerns about, that we might consider removing it. So I'm waiting for him to hear back from him on
Is
that
that the
one.
sycamore?
Mm-hmm,
And those maples are red maples.
mm-hmm.
They're,
And-
yeah.
Yeah, and those colors on those, they said that that's actually just, when you put those out, they kind of go into a little bit of shock when you first plant them. And they said just the fact that they had turned and stuff was a good sign that they weren't concerned about those, the new trees anyway. I was more concerned about the big established trees that looked like we were
Yes.
losing
Yeah.
those on the square, but, we think we're okay for now, so.
Which I'm sure those sycamore trees were not planted there. They just was there when they did everything. That's probably not what the best choice to plant around there.
They're huge, and it will be a big loss to lose those off of there once we do, but they are getting some age on them, so.
Yes. And we'll just have to plant something else more appropriate for that.
So the Lake Street parking, we addressed that. The MoDOT extension was something else but we talked about that. Missouri Municipal League, Kim has information on that. They have a conference in Branson in September. If you are interested in attending all of it, a day of it, whatever it might be, get with Kim and she will get you the information on that, and you can let her know if you plan to attend that. It's in Branson. I don't know if
How
I
many
said
days
that.
is that? 3 days?
It's Monday through
The one
Wednesday.
they have before?
I think they have one session on Sunday. If you still need to satisfy your 8 hours, if you haven't done something to satisfy your 8 hours, you could go down for a session for a day. If you wanna do that, Kim can get you the information on that.
And when is it?
September 15th through the 18th.
Can you just email it? Can you just email or text it to all of us?
Yep.
I don't know, I probably know.
I have been talking to Larry. We are gonna go ahead, I'm putting together all the information on the demolished houses so that we can start billing on all of those. Larry's gonna file paperwork with the county on them. I'm just in the process, him and I were going over it before council meeting on exactly what all he needs on those, so I'm putting all that information together for him. I don't know how many of them yet, we haven't looked up yet how many of them have changed hands since we did it. So we'll have to figure that out before we go ahead and file it, but, Kim's been helping me get that information put together, so.
Larry, that's not a big process, is it? Just getting some things together and filing it?
And then I just have a couple of things to go over with you all in closed session, that's all I have.
Okay. Anything else in open? Not, motion to go.
Motion,
Wait a minute, do we
Pay
need?
Oh,
bills.
I guess we better pay bills.
motion.
Take a look at the bills. Have a motion to pay them. In a second?
Second.
Second by Brenda. All in favor to pay the bills?
Aye.
All opposed? We got the money, don't we?
I hope.
Right. All right, now motion to go in close.
Motion.
Second.